Hello, everybody. First off, we have Brian Yu, a Sage Hill senior, and he'll be talking about how seeking discomfort has helped him navigate through high school.
I need to confess something to everyone here. I'm not smiling right now because I'm enjoying the intention or I'm a nice guy. It's because I'm terrified that I might forget a part of my speech tonight. That's why I'm here, though, to get outside my comfort zone. And I'm going to do so by sharing my story of how finding the comfort in discomfort has changed my life. Let me paint you a quick picture. You've been working all week long, overdrive mode, and you're running on 4 hours of sleep, 5 shots of espresso. Thankfully, Thanksgiving break is coming up. What do? Hang out with friends? Empty the bank account on Black Friday? Stuff yourself with stuffing? All valid choices. For me, though, I would lock myself in my room to study for a test that was weeks and weeks away. Why was I, breaking the number one rule of school, doing work for no reason instead of hanging out with friends and family like a normal teenager? To answer that question, I need to give you some context about my life. So ever since I could walk, I've had expectations placed on me. In elementary school, that was to be good at STEM. So I became good at STEM. I won the district science fair in 4th grade, and I did math competitions. In middle school, that expectation shifted to being good at tennis. So I became good at tennis. I played 2 hours every day and did tournaments every weekend. And now, in high school, that expectation has shifted into getting into an Ivy League college. You might be asking, why am I talking as if these things are bad? Because in theory, I should be smart, athletic, and hopefully a good college student. I agree with you. On paper, it's great. But the issue arises because I only saw high school as 4 years just to build my college resume. Get good grades, earn a couple national awards, maybe start a community service club so I can write about that in my essays. Nothing too new or challenging. I was so worried about the destination that I forgot about the more important 4 years, the journey along the way. And because of that, I spent every X block, every conference, and every lunch with my nose deep inside a textbook, headphones on, studying and studying. And when the weekend came by, it was the same thing. Lock myself in my room and keep studying. My mom would sometimes come by, ask how I was doing, or even bring me food, and I would just shoo her away because I was annoyed that she was disturbing my workflow. I struggled socially a lot in my freshman and sophomore year. No one wanted to talk to me, and rightfully so, because I was so closed off, and I thought I was too busy to have any friends. I hung out once my entire freshman year, and I looked forward to group projects just because at least then I would have a temporary friend group. Some days I would go home and have this nagging feeling that maybe I was letting these 4 years where I should be finding out who I was and making memories, just slip through my fingers. But then I would just push those thoughts away and do more work. At the end of sophomore year, things took a turn for the worse. The constant stress that I put myself under, the lack of friends I could even talk to, and the mundane reality of doing the same thing every single day caught up. I was diagnosed with a clinical anxiety disorder, and without getting into too much detail, it's as if a bully came knocking at your door every morning and said, "I'm going to take away everything that you care about," and you completely believe them. On my 16th birthday, after my family saying happy birthday to me, I broke down into tears in my room because on top of the social and personal struggles I was dealing with, I had to deal with panic attacks every day. Thankfully, my sister Crystal, she pushed me to see a therapist, and that one action has changed my life. In therapy, they teach this treatment known as ERP. And essentially, it's you put yourself in a situation that causes you anxiety until you get used to that anxiety. So if we take Jim, for example, who has arachnophobia, under ERP, he might look at this photo of a spider for 20 minutes a day, and then maybe for a month. And then he would step it up, maybe spend 20 minutes in the same room as his friend who has a tarantula, and then until he got used to that, he would keep doing that. And he would keep building that up and up until he could live his life pretty spider anxiety free. Back to my life though. During those tougher moments, I had a lot of time to think about who I was and who I wanted to become. And I saw this huge disparity. I looked 4 or 5 years down the line, and I saw the exact same person not really having experienced life, despite of all the resources and youth in front of him. So I looked at ERP and I said, if this works so well in therapy, why not in life? Beginning of 2019, I made a commitment to myself. I told myself I would try new things, look ridiculous, embarrass myself, and most of all, get outside the comfort zone I had made for myself in the past 17 years. As the socially awkward nerd for most of high school, those things sounded absolutely terrifying for me. So, like Jim, I had to start out very, very small. I started hanging out on a bi-weekly basis. I attended the pep rally for the first time instead of skipping it and hiding in the bathroom. And at the end of junior year, I got a little crazy. I attended prom for the first time, and I had my physics teacher do a magic trick as a promposal. Now, full disclosure, I would never recommend this for anything, especially not a proposal. But for reasons I still cannot understand, it worked, and I'm grateful that it did work. At the beginning of senior year, that's when I really buckled down, and I made a list of all the things that I've always wanted to do but was just too afraid of. And the first thing on that list was just talking to strangers. So when I went to Europe for vacation, I tried to do that as much as possible in spite of the language barrier. Some people thought I was cute, this baby-faced high schooler trying to make small talk. Others thought that I was trying to pickpocket them and ran away before I could even say hi. But for those who actually gave me a chance, it was so rewarding to learn about their culture and just their personal lives. I would recommend this wherever you go, even if it's local. I've also taken hip-hop classes. I'm at that weird age where I'm too old to do some of the kids' classes, but I'm also too young to do some of the adult classes. So I've had the privilege of walking into rooms full of middle-aged women as the only boy. I originally had the idea of, in the name of discomfort, making all of you stand up and learn this dance move, but I had an even better idea. I was actually in the musical Mamma Mia over this weekend, and there was this one particularly provocative scene, at least for the male dancers, and so I thought, to make you all uncomfortable. So that is me twerking. I'm not really sure what I'm doing in this one, but as you can clearly see, those hip-hop classes have paid off. And if you're still interested in learning either of these moves, see me after. I do charge a small price, though. My sister also pushed me to do singing classes, and on the third lesson, my singing teacher came to me and said, "There's a recital coming up. Would you be interested?" So I thought to myself, why not seek discomfort, right? Unfortunately, I picked the worst possible song I could for myself, Lady Gaga's A Million Reasons. I'm not sure how much you all know about Lady Gaga, but she does not have a bass voice, and her songs are not made for a bass voice like mine. Since there's no audio included with this GIF, I thought that I would give you a little sample from that night to further maximize the discomfort you guys experience. I've got 100 million reasons to walk away. All right, you can all clap. Thank you. In all honesty, though, in spite of my terrible singing, I had a wonderful time that night listening to people who could actually sing and sing songs that were good for them. I've also done improv classes, and these have been the absolute highlight of my week. The first couple days were so weird. We were making monkey noises and pig noises as part of the warm up. But over time, it's been very fun, and I've learned so much. And no, I don't know what I'm doing to this old man here, but we're still on okay terms. Jokes aside, though, I can safely say that this past year has been the best year of my life so far. The common theme with all of these activities, as silly as they seem, is that I've been very uncomfortable throughout all of them. But more importantly, though, is that they've been so rewarding. I've had so much fun. I've literally cried from laughter during improv. I know that 50 years from now, I can be telling my grandchildren that when I was their age, I was off dancing hip hop with moms. I've also met so many amazing people along the way, whether it's this Japanese guy in Japan, which, sorry to break it to you, we're actually not married, or just from Mamma Mia, from the cast. Everyone there was amazing. And I've also grown as a human being. I've discovered this artsy side of myself that I've been told shouldn't exist. I'm much more self-confident, and I feel a lot more well-rounded. So what, though? Why should you care that I do weird stuff in my free time? I mean, at some point in our lives, we've all been told to get outside our comfort zone. Yale actually did a study very recently where they had monkeys play these games. And once the monkeys got used to the games, the part of their brain responsible for learning and growth became completely inactive. On a personal level, too, I want you all to think of the last time you felt something that you did was actually rewarding. I can't read your minds, but what I can guess at is that it probably wasn't when you were studying, when you were sleeping, or watching a movie. It was probably when you were doing something uncomfortable. And because it was uncomfortable, that was actually why it was so rewarding. I know that 50, 60 years from now, I will be remembering that I twerked in a full wetsuit and flippers. On a professional level, too, a lot of organizations today love to do the same thing, market the same way, administrate everything the same way. And in the age of Bitcoin, in the age of internet, blockchain, innovation is the key to the future as well as success. It's what's made the iPhone. It's what made Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. You may be looking at the stuff I've done, and you may not think all of it's fun. You may think it's stupid. You may have done all of them, and that's perfectly fine. But that's the beauty of the comfort zone, is that each of us have things that we can be doing outside. So then the bigger question becomes, what is the best way to get outside your comfort zone? For me, it was just saying yes to the first thing, just starting, just making a commitment that tomorrow I'm going to be doing something new. If you like to plan things out like me, you can make a list of all the things, 5, 10 things that you've always wanted to do but never got a chance to do so. It doesn't have to be anything extraordinary, just simple things like hanging out with someone new or having that uncomfortable conversation with your spouse or boss. If you're more spontaneous, it might just be going about the day with an attitude of saying yes more. You might strike up a conversation with that lady in front of you at Starbucks, and you might learn the most amazing things about that human being. It's not easy at all, though. There's been so many days where I would much rather stay home and read instead of going to improv or dancing. And I'm still self-conscious about many things. The one advice I can give you that has helped me the most is, like ERP and gym, is that you always want to start out small. So if you want to go quit your job or quit college to go backpacking around the world or become a monk in Tibet, please do something on a smaller scale first so that you know what you're getting yourself into. I'm also not saying that this is a one-size-fits-all solution to all of your issues, but if you do put in the time and effort, you will gradually find your life become more exciting and worthwhile in the process. Because life, after all, begins where our comfort zone ends. And also, I get to add one more thing that I've done outside of my comfort zone. Thank you.
We're now going to be having a Q&A, so if you guys have any questions for Brian, feel free to raise your hand.
I love you, Brian.
How's your anxiety now?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a lot better. ERP is, if you know anyone who has anxiety or suffering from it, I would totally recommend it because it's the gold standard and there's a ton of evidence backing it up. So, thank you.
What's the most fun thing you've done while trying to seek discomfort?
Hip hop.
The most he's saying that because we do hip hops together sometimes. He's a little biased. The most fun thing, honestly, this is off the cuff, but the musical has been incredibly fun. It's if you were there this Sunday or this Saturday, Friday, you were in for a treat.
Can you tell us the full Marrying the Guy in Japan story?
Marrying the Guy in Japan, yeah. So there's this famous crossing known as the Shibuya crossing in Japan, and it's famous because there's so many people there. It's like an 8-way crossing. There's like no roads. It's just for crossing, and people, film directors and everything, they love to use that as like a segue scene. So there's a ton of people, and so I went there with my dad just to see the famous area, and then on the street we saw this guy who was holding up this "Will you marry me" sign. And at first we thought, maybe he's trying to do like an anchor baby thing where, you have a kid in US and then have that citizenship. But it turns out he was just trying to welcome people, US nationals or people that were not from Japan. And he was an amazing guy, super kind. But we're still not married, I'm sorry.
How do you get into these improv classes?
Okay, so I'll let you in on a little secret right here. You have to be 18 and older, and I'm 17, so I'm breaking a couple laws there. The one if you're into breaking some laws, the one I would recommend is the one at the Circusroom, the SDR. The guy who teaches it is absolutely hilarious, so I would go to that one.
Did you make it into one of those colleges there?
Hopefully, we're still waiting on that. Got a couple more months. Hopefully.
What's your next step to getting out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, that's a good question. So next step is that this Sunday, actually, I'm going to go busking, which is you play music on the street. So I'm going with Albert over there and Rohan. So we're gonna go busking, Santa Monica. So yeah, that's the next step.
Yeah, Mr. Sofa.
Did you have a good time at prom that night?
I did. He's asking because he's the physics teacher who did the card trick. So he's.
Did you?
I did. It was very fun.
Yeah, I was just curious. You made it sound like you woke up one day and you just changed. Like I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. Was it like that, or was it a journey to get even to that point where you were willing to consider that?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. Is whether or not it was like a snap moment that made me change or gradual process, and I think this is going to sound weird, but it was a gradual process that brought me to that snap moment. The process of looking at my life and saying, wow, I go to Sage Hill, I have all these resources in front of me, and I'm not making the most of it. And just one day I told myself, I'm going to do something different, and I'm going to get outside of my comfort zone. And that's how it kind of started.
I mean, at first you probably had to force it a little bit, but do you feel it's a habit now?
Oh yeah, for sure. The first day, yeah. So the first day was like just trying to talk to strangers. It was so awkward. Like I was sitting down, I forgot the handshake, not making eye contact. It was terrible. But the more you do it, and this is in line with ERP, like doing something that makes you uncomfortable until you get used to it, is that the more you do it, the easier it gets. And I can attest to that. It's just about the first step is always the hardest.
So I think that's all the time we have for questions. If you have any more, feel free to approach Brian in the lobby or something.
Thank you.
Thank you.